Will Brinson is the senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. He sorts the Sunday pile. And because I value you as a person, as a friend, as a reporter, we will not start with the Panthers, although the Panthers might be worth starting with.
I mean, they're pretty relevant.
Are they?
They got fired.
They did. They got Dennis Allen fired. See, that's what happens when you lose to the Panthers. Your coach is gone.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you saw the numbers, and Bill Barnwell tweeted it out.
He's not good. Dennis Allen was not a good head coach.
No. I meant the numbers from yesterday where the Saints outgained the Panthers by more than 150 yards, rushed for 150 yards, and won the turnover battle. Every team before the Saints yesterday was, in the last 20 years, was 275-0.
Yeah.
When doing those things, and the Saints became the first to lose, and it was just too much for Gail Benson, because it didn't feel like it was a Mickey Loomis pulled the trigger, ultimately the GM. But his statement, it didn't seem like one of those where he actually, it wasn't something he would have done if it was his choice, which I think is interesting for their future.
Yeah, look, the Saints are what, 2-8 now, or 2-7? They're 2 and something. There's a lot of 2-win teams, by the way. There are 9 2-win teams in the NFL. 9
Crazy,
of them.
And the Saints, by the way, I believe, already $81 million over the cap next year.
Yeah.
So good luck with that job. And Derek Carr's got like a $50 million cap hit. They've restructured guys so many times and kicked the can down the road so many times that there's no easy solution for the Saints. I would be really interested to see what happens with Mickey Loomis. I mean, it sort of flies under the radar because New Orleans, one of the cities, but he's a guy who, for a while, was simultaneously running the Saints and the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Like 2 sports franchises. He is, and I heard this on Greg Rosenthal's NFL Daily podcast when he had some Saints guys on there. They said that Mickey Loomis is in Gail Benson's will, which is just wild to think about. I mean, like, you don't fire somebody who's in your will, Right. So, like, I'll be curious to see how they handle all of that with him and what they do. It's not a great job moving forward, though, unfortunately.
Well, you know what would be really good? It would be great investigative reporting to actually, like, stake out the lawyer and see if Mrs. Benson decides to remove Mickey Loomis from the will.
That's right.
Then something is up. Let me ask you.
I mean, but to segue to the Panthers, I think you can even ask the question: which job would you rather have, the Saints or the Panthers? I mean, I don't know, Sean, maybe the Bryce Young trade's not dead yet.
Yeah, okay. We're going to set that aside for a second. We will get to the trade deadline in a minute. Let me ask you about the Detroit Lions.
Oh, man.
So they've got road wins, and these are not all juggernaut teams, but they have road wins over Minnesota and Green Bay in the division. They beat Green Bay by 10 yesterday, and a road win at Dallas by about 1.5 billion points. We are sold on the Lions as the best team in the NFC?
I mean, I think, with the exception of the Ravens.
In the NFC, Ravens are like in the other conference, but in
I know, but I'm saying with the exception of the Ravens, like, I think you just make the case they're the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, I should have let you finish that sentence.
The
Chiefs are undefeated.
Football. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are undefeated. That's great, and we'll see how they play tonight. But I mean, I think the Lions, even if Baltimore's maybe looked like the best team, I don't know. I think you made the case for the Lions having looked like the best team and the most complete team. It's also, I mean, you look at the job that Brad Holmes, the GM there, and Dan Campbell have done. Yeah. They trade Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff and some picks. They build heavily through the trenches. They load up on offensive line talent. They have probably the best offensive line in football. They go out and get Aiden Hutchinson, who, of course, is on injured reserve, but is an elite defensive player of the year level talent when he's healthy. And then, you get Raleigh's own, Lee McNeil, who, now being paid $20 million a year. And then they beef up the secondary after doing that and continue to add on talent at the wide receiver and skill position. So it's like this team is so well-rounded. they only have to play, I think, that was their first outdoor game of the year, by the way. I think they only have one more, just the way the schedule lined up at Chicago later in the season. I mean, this team is can beat you in a bunch of different ways. They can, if you want to get in the shootout, sure, they'll fire away with you. And if you want to get in just an absolute, rock fight, that's what Dan Campbell loves. Bad weather and a rock fight in Green Bay. I mean, that team looked ready to beat anybody, anywhere. And I don't think that, because of the way the schedule sets up, because of where they're going to play, because of that offensive line, because of all those guys at the skill positions, Jared Goff, who, by the way, is a former number one pick, who went to a Super Bowl, and was in the MVP conversation with the Rams, isn't going to turn into some pumpkin. He's legitimate. They have more touchdowns than incompletions over a 6-week span. That's crazy.
Their offense has been next level. Now, this week is the deadline to make a trade. Do they have to make a trade for an edge rusher?
It would probably help. I think Zadarius Smith of the Browns, who, they got, you lose to Deshaun Watson. They're, all these 2-win teams. The trade deadline is so hard because you can be a 2-win team, and then you look up and you're like, well, we're 2 or 3 games out of the playoffs,
Yeah, but if you're a 2-win team, you're not making the playoffs right now.
I'm with you, and I think Zadarius Smith would be a good example of go trade for that guy, plug him in. He's played in the division before. He'll be motivated to play well, and I think they'd be wise to go get an edge rusher. We heard Max Crosby say the Raiders say that Max Crosby's going to be off the table, and then even the deals that like Mike Tannenbaum threw out. There's Jahmyr Gibbs and 2 firsts for Max Crosby. No, nobody's. It's who says no? It's
it was 3. It was 3 firsts.
Lions fan. Yeah, no.
Mike. This is why I always joke that Mike Tannenbaum single-handedly ruined 2 franchises in the AFC East. He ruined the Jets and the Dolphins. I mean, it's sort of a joke. I don't think he was awesome. I think he was better than I believe that I am making it out to be. But that would be a stupid trade.
By lobbing out trades like that on national television, that's for sure. By the way, is there anything better than the nickname? And shout out to my own progeny, Robbie Brinson, a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. But they call Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery Sonic and Knuckles, which, what a combination, right? Unbelievable.
Will Brinson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right. Enough with the Lions Appreciation Fan Club. Josh Allen did it again yesterday. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who doesn't believe that Josh Allen is all that good. And I think that Josh Allen is one of the best, certainly one of the best 3 players in the NFL. If we say the quarterbacks are the best players. Mahomes, Lamar, and Allen, to me, Mahomes is probably on a place, at a place that nobody's going to get to. But I look at Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen identically. I think, one will have a game that's just incredible, and you go, well, that guy's the best. And then Josh Allen does what he did yesterday almost by himself, and you go, yeah, it's probably that guy. Who's better. They're both unbelievable, but Allen's the reason why Buffalo has a chance to do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. You trade Stephon Diggs in the offseason. I think that's worked out well for them in the sense that they've had to have this kind of array of guys sort of emerge as weapons. You see the rookie Ray Davis leads him in receiving, has a long 63-yard touchdown catch. Khalil Shakir steps up. Dalton Kincaid has played well at times. And they had Amari Cooper, who, was a late scratch yesterday, but has been effective in his short time there. And it's I just think, I think they've sort of melded this nice blend of equal distribution in the passing game, a good solid run game. It wasn't dominant yesterday by any stretch of the imagination, but also this however they blended the level of hero ball that Josh Allen needs to play has kept him largely healthy. He had the left hand injury left thumb injury early in the season, but I don't know. It's they're they are. He has to be everything for them to win,
right?
But they're not asking him to do too much. It's like what they've surrounded him with, and the defense playing much better than I think people thought, especially with the injuries they've dealt with and the attrition this offseason. Sean McDermott doing a great coaching job there. So I mean, like Buffalo to me is what I thought they would be, which is a Super Bowl contender. You know, you're going to have to play Baltimore or Kansas City and maybe both of them at some point in the postseason. But, I mean, they effectively clinched the AFC East yesterday with that win over the Dolphins.
Yes, I actually wrote that. Their magic number is 4.
Right.
Right?
The election hadn't even happened. Like, like Halloween was Thursday.
Right. We are 3 weeks away from the Thanksgiving weekend. The Bills could have the division wrapped up. Like mathematically wrapped up. That is how goofy it is what we are watching. And the thing is, there are 2 losses, and I get there were people who tell you, well, the Bills didn't beat anybody early. Cardinals, Dolphins, Jaguars. They've still only beat the Jets. They did beat the Titans. No, I'm sorry, the Titans are bad too. I met the Seahawks on the road. And they beat the Dolphins with Tua, who's obviously a different team. So I get that maybe the strength of schedule has not been outstanding, but it's certainly going to get more difficult. They've got the Chiefs. They got the 49ers still to come. They have to play the Lions in Detroit. So we'll find out a lot more about them. But
they get the Patriots twice.
The
Rams right in the mix. So they have 2. So they have
and the Jets again.
I mean, but like. You know, they're going to win 2 games against the Patriots.
But I'm not talking about whether or not they're going to win the division. They're going to clinch the division before Thanksgiving. Like on Thanksgiving Day, we're going to be looking at there be an X next to the Bills to the left of the Bills in the standings in the NFL. They will have clinched the AFC East. I'm just talking about them as a team, as a true contender in the conference, and I think they are. I don't think they're quite as good as a team as Baltimore or Kansas City. And
I think they're a better team than Kansas City as a whole.
Yeah, I understand. Kansas City looks terrible, and they keep winning.
Yeah, and Kansas City's doing what New England did for years.
Right.
You just stack wins. You don't look great, and then all of a sudden the playoffs are here.
And they'll figure it out.
Mahomes flips it on.
I mean, they'll figure it out because they got that guy. And adding Hopkins is important for them, and if they get healthy by the time we get back, then we're going to go, oh my gosh, how did we ever doubt this team? But it's hard to do 3 in a row. It's like it's just
so much to do 3 in a row. Real quickly, I would just say like they stomped the Dolphins once in week 2, and that's the game Tua got hurt. They stomped the Jaguars. They stomped the Titans. They stomped the Seahawks. Like good teams stomp bad teams. Right. And that's what they've done. And then their 2 losses, they got blown out by the Ravens in that primetime game. That was a big game for the Ravens coming off, I think, or maybe 2 weeks removed from that ugly loss to the Raiders. And then you lose a 3-point game to the Texans. So your 2 losses are on the road to 2 of the 5 best teams in your conference.
Right.
That happens. Like that's okay.
All right, let me ask you a couple of more questions. We'll try to be like rapid fire here because I want to get
You know me, I love rapid fire.
I know you do. You're great at it. If you were the Dolphins, would you shut Tua Tagovailoa down now for the rest of the year?
No, because again, I think at 2 and 6, you're like.
You're over. You're not making the playoffs.
Dead,
they're not making. Even though you could be a wild card at 8 and 9 in the AFC this year. I wouldn't be completely stunned if there was a wild card team at 8 and 9. But there's so much. I mean, the chances of the Dolphins getting to 8 and 9 is so small. If Tua is going to play next year, if that's the plan for him, and it's up to him, then I think you shut him down now for the rest of the year.
I mean, they paid him a ton of money. He
Oops.
went through the steps. I don't think you shut him down just because he's had concussion issues. Like nothing is going to change factually from right now until next year. So I say no. This is my rapid fire answer.
All right. Well, I appreciate you playing rapid fire with me. The Dallas Cowboys, because of the strength of the NFC, they're not going to make the playoffs. What is their solution right now?
Well, the solution for a normal team in these circumstances
Right.
would be to fire the head coach
Right.
and fire the GM. The GM's unfireable because he also owns the team. And I wrote about this today or yesterday for CBSSports.com. Like, there's nothing to do. You can blame Mike McCarthy's going to get the blame, and that
Right.
so facto by being fired. But this is Jerry Jones's doing.
Yep.
Like wholesale. This is your team. You're the GM. You want all the credit when it's good. You get it all when it's bad, or all the blame when it's bad. He didn't add to the running game. He said Derrick Henry was too expensive. He waited too long to sign Dak Prescott. Waited too long to sign CeeDee Lamb. Didn't add to the defense this offseason. Just assumed the offensive line would continue to be great, even though clearly, like the attrition and then the aging of some of these guys. Tyler Smith gone, Zach Martin older. Tyler Bleavis is out in Washington playing really well. Like, I don't know, man. If you're an actual football GM and not an owner who just really craves to win a Super Bowl without Jimmy Johnson's guys, you probably would have seen this coming. But here we are.
Yeah. But Jerry, if you ask him, Jerry will say he is the best general manager that the Dallas Cowboys could ever have.
Yeah,
he believes it.
Tell him he's wrong.
Yeah, and no, well, the guys in the on the radio in Dallas tried to tell him that he was wrong, and he said, "I'll find new people to ask me these questions."
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's where we are.
Exactly introspective.
Yeah, no, that's where we are. He lives in a world with alternative facts. The Bengals will make the playoffs. True or false?
I'll say true. I think they're the team. They're the now 3-win team that can make a run here. Denver got stomped by the Ravens. They're still hanging on there.
Denver's not that good.
So I think Denver's really well coached. I think Denver and the Chargers playing above their head because they've got good head coaches. But yeah, I think Cincy makes the playoffs. Yeah,
I think they will too. But don't they have the Ravens this Thursday?
They sure do. Pretty big game. That's why the T. Higgins thing, with him, it's like, all right, and that's why people, I think the Ravens probably considered maybe holding out Lamar too. You got this monster game, kind of an elimination game, not necessarily an elimination game for the Bengals, but a monster game on Thursday. A great game on Amazon Prime.
All right, final thing. Philadelphia Eagles are 6-2. They just beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Saquon Barkley is a circus act. He is unbelievable.
That was wild.
I mean, the reverse hurdle only netted another 3 yards, but just to see it happen is just amazing.
I've never seen anybody hit the circle button and the X button that's in real life like that before. That was insane. The spin move into the jump. I mean, or maybe it's triangle. I can't remember, but you get the point. It was just unbelievable.
100%. It was a tremendous move. It didn't net a lot of yards, but it was just amazing to watch. How come at 6-2, chasing down the Washington Commandos, how come Nick Sirianni is essentially feeling the heat? Everybody is coming after him. I think he's got limitations. I think he's a knucklehead at times. But, I mean, they went to a Super Bowl with Sirianni. I know last year didn't go well, but they're in pretty good position right now. Why are they coming after Nick?
Well, I think you go 2-2 into the bye, and the team's kind of scuffling, and you've got these 2 one-score wins against the Packers and a bad Saints team that we thought was better after in the third week of the season. And I think we probably haven't adjusted our pre-bye priors where now you beat the Browns, you manhandle the Giants, you manhandle the Bengals, and you take care of business against the Jaguars. Really shouldn't have even let them get that close. The Jaguars had 16 points and 95 yards somehow. It was crazy. Massive stretch coming up here at the Cowboys, Commanders at home, at the Rams, at the Ravens, where maybe that's lingering, and Sirianni likes to yell at fans, and he's just sort of a hothead. I think it's a combination of all those things, plus Philly being a lightning rod, Jalen Hurts a lightning rod as well. It's probably all of that that keeps it focused on Sirianni, with the taste of last year's meltdown still lingering.
If they don't beat the Cowboys, man, and for those people holding, the Commandos plus 1,100 to win the NFC East, That would be an ideal result there. Plus, Washington's got two games left.
Who's got two thumbs? Hosts North Carolina Sports Radio and has that ticket. This guy.
Oh my gosh! All right, and it wasn't even my money. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. At Will Brinson on Twitter. He sorts the Sunday pile, and we'll sort it again on Monday. Thank you, man.
All right, buddy. See you next week.
You got it.